Wojak stared at the ceiling, his alarm blaring in the background. The start of another day felt like another step on an endless treadmill. At 30, he'd achieved what society told him was success: a steady job, a nice apartment, and the occasional weekend getaway. Yet, every morning, he was greeted by a sinking feeling that this was all there was. He rolled out of bed, quickly showered, and grabbed his coffee to go as he ran out the door. His daily commute was a long, silent struggle through thick traffic, adding to his frustration. He reached the office and settled into his cubicle, surrounded by other weary souls, each lost in their own mundane tasks. His boss, Mr. Johnson, came by his desk, handing him another stack of files. "I need these done by tomorrow," he barked, barely making eye contact. Wojak nodded, not surprised by the demand. In this place, it didn't matter how many late nights he put in or how many weekends he sacrificed. He was always just another employee, and his contributions never seemed to be enough. Lunch came, but Wojak stayed glued to his desk, eating a cold sandwich while glancing at emails. He'd long since given up on breaks. There was too much work to keep up with. He watched a co-worker, a guy named Rob, rush past, looking equally worn down. They exchanged a brief look of understanding, a silent acknowledgement of the rat race they were both trapped in. That evening, as he headed home, Wojak received a message from an old friend, Mike. "In town, grabbing drinks tonight. Come join us." Wojak hesitated. Normally, he'd avoid socializing, too tired to engage. But tonight, something in him craved connection. He needed to be reminded of a life outside the walls of his office. When he reached the bar, he found Mike waiting, looking relaxed and carefree. They laughed, reminiscing about college days when life felt full of potential. Wojak felt a flicker of the person he once was, a man with dreams, unafraid of risk. "So, what's new with you?" Mike asked, a genuine curiosity in his eyes. Wojak paused, unsure how to answer. He realized he had nothing to say that wasn't work-related. "Same old grind, you know. Corporate life." Mike nodded, sipping his drink. "I gave that up a while ago. Moved to a small town, started a little business. Life's simpler, but it's mine." Wojak felt a pang of envy. "Don't you worry about money, security?" Mike shrugged. "At first, sure. But honestly, I'd rather live with less than spend my life like a hamster on a wheel." The conversation lingered with Wojak as he walked home that night. He couldn't shake the thought. Was he spending his life chasing something he didn't even want? Was his idea of success actually making him miserable? The next day at work felt heavier than usual. Every task, every email felt pointless. Wojak looked around, seeing his co-workers' tired faces, each of them caught in their own race, all of them waiting for the weekend, the next promotion, or some future event to make life better. That evening, Wojak found himself sitting alone in his apartment, thinking. Could he leave this life behind? He didn't have a clear plan, but he knew he wanted out. He thought about Mike's words and realized that he, too, wanted a life that felt like his own. The story ends with Wojak looking out his window, his mind racing with both fear and excitement. For the first time in years, he allowed himself to consider an alternative, a life outside the rat race. He didn't know what tomorrow would bring, but for the first time, that